songs, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc, where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
I think it's important simply because it can be a misunderstood community. With all of the lingo and everything that's going on, it can be easier for them to make and build a community instead of moving to each place and having it on such a big scale in each of the cities that the bases are around. They'll have everything they kind of need at their fingertips.
All right, we are live again. This is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Today we have, excuse me, there's some water. Today is our Young Professionals Network show. So this is something that we launched a while ago, and we've been kind of having different show hosts and guests and stuff. But essentially, this is for all the young professionals new to Parks and Recreation. So if it's like your first 1 to 5 years being in Parks and Recreation, the Young Professionals Network is for you. If you're already a part of NRPA or some of your state organizations, you may not know this, but there is a YPN chapter that's potentially being run. If you don't have a YPN chapter, you should consider starting one. But I think it comes free with your membership to NRPA as a young professional, and you get connected to like mentors, meet other young professionals that are joining the industry, because as we all know, when you join the Parks and Rec industry for your first few years, it's like drinking from a fire hose, and really that fire hose never shuts off. Parks and Rec professionals are constantly learning to better themselves so they can support their community through the Parks and Rec system. But today we have a special guest, Emily, and she's got a great story, and she worked a little bit in the military, and I think kind of what she does now, but she's got a great story. And we are in talks to her potentially being one of our show hosts to the Young Professionals Network show. And so I can't wait to explore more of that and see where it goes. Now, for those of you who don't know or are new to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, this is a family of now 10 shows, all covering Parks and Recreation or some part of it. I have the daily show that goes Monday through Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, where we highlight leaders. But then we also have shows like today and right now where we're highlighting the young professionals. Well, tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. we have the Aquatics Life show, all about aquatics. And before this show, earlier today, we had the Youth Sports Mastery show. And it's where we just kind of go into all the different segments of Parks and Recreation and such. And so if you are new to this, you can find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. We're kind of all over the place. If you find us on our YouTube channel, which is kind of a newer thing, please subscribe to us so we can kind of boost that algorithm and open up some functionality. But before we get started, we're going to play a promo that kind of explains it all and what we're trying to accomplish with DPR's media company, creating a full-time network that just highlights everything Parks and Recreation. And then after that, we have a little promo for this show itself, the Young Professionals Network. So we'll play these two, and then we'll come right back and start our conversation with Emily.
Welcome to DPRS Media Network, the voice of Parks and Recreation professionals, where leadership grows, facilities thrive, and communities connect. Leadership Series, insights from the leaders shaping our industry. Facility Maintenance, the backbone of safe and sustainable spaces. Young Professionals Network, empowering the next generation of Parks and Rec leaders. The Rec Room, real conversations, real stories, real impact. Youth Sports Mastery, elevating the game for athletes and communities. Smart Parks Forward, innovation driving the future of recreation. On the Front Line, honoring those who serve our communities every day. Athletes Commute, the journey behind the performance. The Aquatics Life, everything aquatics, safety, staffing, sustainability. Safe Spaces and Green Spaces, a show exploring the connection between nature and mental well-being. And we don't just tell the stories, we show up where it happens. From local gatherings to national parks and recreation conferences, DPRS Media Network is on the ground, capturing conversations, highlighting innovation, and amplifying the voices shaping our industry's future. DPRS Media Network, connecting parks, empowering people, inspiring communities. On the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we bring you the real stories of tomorrow's professionals, people shaping the future, one idea at a time. Meet the very first DPRS interns to officially host their own segment, Aidan Tierney and Michael Morrow. With curiosity, passion, and a fresh perspective, they're stepping into the spotlight to lead meaningful conversations with today's rising leaders. The Young Professionals Network takes you inside the journeys, challenges, and major wins of young individuals making their mark across industries. From first jobs to bold ventures, every story fuels growth, ambition, and innovation. Each episode brings real conversations, fresh perspectives, and impactful insights created to motivate the next generation of professionals. Whether you're just starting out, exploring new paths, or figuring out your next move. Tune in to the Young Professionals Network every Thursday at 5 p.m. only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Don't miss it, because your next big idea might be one story away.
All right. So we're back with our guest, Emily. And now what state are you in right now?
I'm in Georgia.
Yeah. So tell us about how you kind of got exposed to Parks and Recreation, and I think mostly through MWR and working with the Marine Corps, correct?
Yes. So my dad was in the military. He worked for the Marine Corps and then worked for the Army for a bit. So I grew up utilizing the programs and had never really thought about it as a potential job opportunity. But I got to college and I was like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. And I wasn't doing great on my biology heavy degree. And so I was like, oh, there's a Parks and Rec degree. That sounds so much fun. And actually, I loved it. And so I excelled in those classes. But I took a class, a study abroad trip with Rick Harwell, who worked for the Navy, who's a professor at A&M. And he took us to Hawaii and we visited each of the different branches' bases. And
wow.
See how the Coast Guard did things and how the Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, Navy, and it was so interesting. And then we went to the Big Island and visited. They have a kind of cabin style resort there. The Army does. And so that was really interesting to see as well.
Yeah. So how was it visiting Hawaii? That's a beautiful state. I've never been.
It was great. I actually flew out early with my sister and we traveled and visited. That was one of the first places I lived growing up. My dad was stationed there in Pearl Harbor. And so we went out early and we got to travel to our favorite little places and eat our favorite foods. And it was just really great to be there, but then transfer that to oh, this is now work and what I want to do. And you can do it in a really cool place. And we also visited the Halikoa, the lodge, hotel there, resort. And that was just gorgeous.
Yeah. And so all the branches have so big, I know the Navy has a huge installation there, I imagine, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. That whole state is almost like a park.
It really is. It's
like living in a park.
A dream, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so then how did that lead you into kind of what you did after that?
So I worked a lot with, I guess, myself and some other students and friends. We kind of just listened to everything Rick had to say about military recreation. And he told me about the Coast Guard having an internship program. And so I did an internship up at Cape May, New Jersey, with the Coast Guard Training Center. And since it was such a small base, I got a taste of, special events and outdoor recreation and sports and CYS, which is Child and Youth Services, and then leisure tickets and travel. And that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, but it's nice to kind of specialize in one of those little sections, although I do kind of miss having like a hand in every pot.
Yeah. And so what were some of the early benefits that you kind of saw in Parks and Rec as far as the benefits of the people that used it?
Mhm. Um, for the people that used it, I mean, it is such an outlet. When we are not working, that's recreation. Like when we're not sleeping and we're not making money to
Mhm.
recreate, that's our entire life. And so making sure that you like have time to participate in recreation and Parks and Rec, and just it's so freeing and so relaxing. And I don't know about you, but like if I'm around water for just a simple amount of time, it's like the noise of it and just like it's so calming.
Mhm.
And
Oh
I
yeah.
noticed that in like the people that would come out and utilize us.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about this program that you got hooked up with, that you were telling me about,
Yes.
that I think was done for quite a while, and then it kind of lost funding, but y'all still trying to keep it going, or some people are.
Yes.
Maybe tell people that. What's the name of it again?
Warrior Adventure Quest.
Warrior Adventure Quest. And when did that start?
Wow.
Whack.
Yes.
When did that start?
I want to say it started in 2007. It was kind of in the works for a little bit, and then they got it going just on the heels of the Middle East and the war. Um, and it was such an amazing program. And so they ended up, I don't know, it lasted over 10, 15 years.
Oh,
But the point of it is it was supposed to be um, so it's a high adrenaline outdoor activity that is
mhm.
sponsored or kind of done controlled by outdoor recreation staff. And so the adrenaline is supposed to recreate kind of what they feel in combat
Mhm.
while allowing them to like do it in a safe setting that is controlled and with their unit. And so it's only for active duty. And like units come together, you can't just sign up by yourself.
Mm.
And so after like the day or the program, there would be a list of questions, and it's an after action review is very similar to what it is. So it was a leader led after action debrief, and so they would sit down and they would talk about, okay, well, the whole thing was what went well and what was positive about this. They didn't want to focus on any of the negatives, which is primarily what after action review does, but they just tried to stick with positives. And so with the Department of the Army, they partnered with the two different departments that I will think about.
Right.
But it actually very much made a difference in creating those bonds and giving them like a sense of, okay, I just came back from war and I like from a deployment when things were so scary and my adrenaline was so high all the time that now I'm back and I just want to, drive really fast and drink and make really bad decisions
Yeah.
because it it's a thrill. And so when they're able to participate in that program, it allows them to like have an outlet that is safe and that builds really good memories and just allows them to like find an outlet of like and introduce them to outdoor recreation.
Yeah. Now you had mentioned something about some numbers. I don't know
Yes.
how, that you had found about, people that participated in the program versus people that didn't. What are some kind of the metrics y'all discovered?
So with the Warrior Adventure Quest program, so they would actually track the program by who went through it, and then you can only go through it once a year. But they would send the surveys after the program. We would each program would send it in, and they would like an old school Scantron. They'd run those. So we tracked it by social security number, and they
Mhm.
would, I guess, look at the look at how the people that interacted or that participated in Warrior Adventure Quest, how they were less likely to have marks against them in
Mhm.
UIs or, you know, adverse. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Just kind of like when you get in trouble
Right, right, right.
with their command. And so they were able to find that it did help.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then what do you think were the major causes of that? Was it just they had more camaraderie, or they just had a great experience and maybe they had like a little network now, they weren't so isolated?
So yes, it did kind of come with the camaraderie and everything. It also allowed them to kind of, through the questions, like, okay, how did this go? Like, you know, how did it feel? I know it was a little touchy feely, which was
Mhm.
hard, but it allows them to like make the connections between, okay, I just went through like something scary because of my bad choices, but now after going through like this paintball event, I didn't realize I could lean on, my coworker
Right.
this much, and like they'll have my back. And specifically, when I worked at Fort Hood, we had a horseback riding program, and so we worked with Hoofbeats for Heroes,
Mhm.
which is the nonprofit that kind of runs the ranch out at Fort Hood, and it was more of a therapeutic riding
Right.
program. And so the soldiers would come out and they would learn how to go find a horse and tack it up, go get it from the field. And so they were able to like bond with the horse and get it all ready to go. And then they would go on a ride, come back to the arena and do trust exercises.
Mhm.
And that was really fun because at the end of it, they were supposed to release them back into the field, and you'd have people that had never like been around a horse, never seen a horse, never ridden, and I I think it was beautiful because we'd sit down and say,
Mm.
"Okay, what did you learn from this? Like, what did your horse teach you?" And each of the horses had a different story because they were all rescued. And
Mm.
so one of them had been a like police horse,
Mhm.
retired police horse, and just the ability to like connect the rider with the horse.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and just like they're able to sense when you are calm, when you are stressed, when you're anxious. And so it's important that like you keep yourself calm. And it was really cool to see that. And like,
Yeah.
how does that correlate to your daily life? Like, how, you realize that it takes communication. Like, you have to communicate with the horse to get it to do what you want. But it's not just like verbally. You don't say, turn left. Like, you have to guide it with reins. And it's a lot of nonverbal communication. And so, like, how does that correlate to the office, to daily life? And they're like, well, I guess, when my wife wants me to do this, or like when my kids, it's about more than what you would think.
Yeah.
And so it was just really cool to see that.
Yeah, and I think animals have a way of kind of picking up on our stresses and stuff like that, so they can kinda sense when you're tense, and then there's a lot of nonverbal communications that they pick up on, and so it really is a neat, interaction between you and whether it's a dog or a horse, because the horse is just huge and stuff. Were you able to go on any of those trips with them?
So I don't think I ever went on the trip with them, but I would
Mhm,
walk beside them,
mhm.
and I would like follow along and assist, and I would volunteer out there on my off time. And so, because it was such a special place.
Yeah, yeah. And now it's, how many years did you work that program?
So I worked Warrior Adventure Quest about 3.5 years.
Yeah. 3.5 years. And that was all at, you said Fort Hood or?
So it was at Fort Hood, and then I moved to Georgia in April of last year,
Mhm.
and they defunded the program in August
Oh, no.
of last year.
Yep, there's budget cuts everywhere about on everything. And so this is one of the things that kind of got cut after like 10, 11
Mhm.
years of the program. And
Mhm.
and so now aren't there some places that are still kind of trying to keep it going and
Yeah.
finding creative ways to fund it?
Yes, absolutely. So we are keeping it up at Fort Benning, but it's not a free program anymore, just because
Mhm.
we weren't able to continue that. And so we do it at a reduced cost. We don't have as many programs, and obviously, when you have contracts, you can't reduce that price just because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
But for the programs that we can reduce the price, we'll work with them, and then we've had several units actually find benefactors, nonprofits that will pay for the program itself.
Mm.
And so they don't have to worry about, oh, I'm spending, an hour's worth of work to pay for this and I don't want to be here. It's okay, it's paid for me. And I, in my opinion, they're more willing to
Right.
be open to it.
Right. And so now one of your missions or potential missions is to try to maybe raise awareness around the good that it did and maybe how we can keep this going. What would be your kind of message as far as why you think this program should stay funded?
So military is a hard life. And
Mm.
these are, service members that are putting their life in someone else's hands because they really don't get to make a ton of decisions like for themselves about their life. They're kind of told, okay, you're going to move here and do this. You're going to move here and do that. Okay, you're going to leave your family and you're going to go to, a deployment for a year and that kind of thing. And so it's just, I am in love with this, with military recreation, because we're able to serve the service members and on top of that, like their families. And
Mm.
so when someone doesn't have to worry about, okay, I have to go work for, you know, several months in another country, but what about my wife? What about my kids? What about all of that? It's like we have programs for them as well. And it really is such an amazing community. Um, and on top of that, I am just outdoor recreation is
Mm.
I don't know. It has impacted my life in such a way where on my bad days, like on my good days, I want to be outside. I want to be like
Yeah.
listening to the birds and the water, and like I can go in depth on like dirt and like plants and the mountains. I love that. And I
Yeah.
know that some people aren't going to share my passion for that, but I mean, it's right. It's proven that being outside and being active is good for your mental
Yeah.
health. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about that because it seems like today we're so behind a screen and a keyboard and we're just nonstop office or maybe we're just doing and we never get a break or a chance to recharge. And what does recharge look like? Does it look like sitting in front of Netflix for 4 or 5 hours straight? Is that really recharging? Maybe speak about what just being in nature and out in the open and touching grass and sunlight and stuff like that. What are the benefits that you've seen in your personal life?
so I can just get caught up in sitting down and putting Netflix on and just zoning out.
Mhm.
But like my mind is constantly, it's not resting because it's being, stimulated by all the colors and the sounds. But being out in nature, I have a dog, and
Mhm.
I take him out, and I had another dog a couple years ago when I lived in Beaufort, South Carolina, and we would go to the beach, and I would put some music on, and they would run around and like, in the waves and chase sticks and watch the birds, and I would just like dance and just like
Nice.
skip and run and like feel the breeze And it was just, there was something so freeing about that. And it's also, it allows me to like stop and be able to connect, like, oh my gosh, like God is so wonderful and so beautiful that like he created this. Like,
Mm,
and so just being able to see his beauty in a tree, in, the plants, and how all of it comes together so perfectly in a
mm.
sunset. And just being able to like see the happy smile like on my dog's face or like on my face, like when I come back from, whether it's a run or I don't run, I just walk, or I run behind
Right.
my dog.
Me
Um,
too, by the way. I'm a heck of a walker.
yes. It's just like it relaxes you in such a way where like you can have clear thoughts, and it just kind of takes the pressure and the weight of the day and like that constant running list of everything you have to be doing.
Yeah.
Um, and just kind of puts it on the back burner and gets you in touch with like the here and the now, and like the feeling of like a plant on your like hands, or like the dirt. And yeah.
Yeah. Now, maybe think back to when you were a child, or where does that come from, that love for nature and being outdoor and stuff?
So I kind of grew up all over. Um, my first memories are from Hawaii. And
Mhm.
so we would go to the beach all the time. And I remember my favorite part of that was like picking up the sea cucumbers and the sea urchins and just like playing with them. And so I love the little like ecosystems. And then my mom's a gardener and she knew all of the plants. And then she's also a birder. And so she knows all of the birds.
Mm.
And spending time around my mom, now I know the birds and I'll like stop what I'm doing and listen, and I'll be like, "Oh, do you hear that like speckled woodpecker?" And my
Yeah.
coach will be like, but it's like so fun to know, like to see that. And we all have our own things, but when I'm working programs here, it's like, oh, duck calls and turkey calls, and it correlates more so. But when I was younger, it was like the backyard birds and
Yeah.
the native plants to the region.
Yeah.
And then after Hawaii, I lived in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's just such a cool area. And so we would go camping in the Smoky Mountains, and just I learned to play in the dirt.
Yeah.
And I would get so dirty, and we never wore shoes. And my mom calls it dirt therapy, but like when you are gardening, when you're messing around like in the mud and the dirt, like I can't tell you exactly what the scientific study is on that now, but there are actual like nutrients that kind of get from the dirt into your hands and allow you to just all the chemicals inside of you, the
Oh, yeah.
way your body works.
Yeah, something about when you just walk barefoot in grass. I don't know if I had some friends that call that grounding or something like that. I don't
Mhm.
know if it's a suspicion, whatever, but I feel it. I feel like it's just somehow takes all the stress out of me when I'm
Yeah.
just out in nature and stuff like that, especially sunlight. I
Mhm.
I remember I had this doctor, he was a neurosurgeon, one of the best on planet Earth, actually. He was up in New York, and he
Mhm.
came on one of my other shows, and he was just telling how important it is for us to get sunlight, especially like watch the sunrises and that kind of stuff, and how being indoor constantly, never getting outside is just, he calls it was damaging to you, that you should get out more and more. And your body is like, he would even say your body's made of sunlight. I guess all life is made of sunlight. Because without it, we'd be a block of ice out here.
Mhm.
Um, and so it really is important, I think, to get out there. Let's see, anything else as far as, um, oh, I did want to mention, did you know there's an iPhone app that you can download that will just listen to the birds, and then it will just tell you what bird it is.
I
And
think I do actually have that app. Is it like
yeah, I forget the name of it, but
it starts with an M, right?
I think so. I shared it with Sherry, and then next thing you know, she's like, "Oh, this bird and that bird." And I had no
Mhm.
idea. You just hear these sounds, and they're like play in the background almost,
Yes.
and you never realize that's like 12 different birds are all unique all around you and that kind of stuff.
But it's hard sometimes when you like are trying to listen for that one and there are 7 other birds and you're
Right. Yeah.
and then you have the frogs that come out now like this time of year.
Yeah. And so what are you doing right now as far as you said you're in Georgia or North Carolina? I can't remember. Georgia?
Georgia.
And so what is your role there?
So right now I've just kind of transitioned into more of a recreation programmer assistant. So we do outdoor recreation programs, more so tailored to the community and families and less to active duty. So it's a lot of families and a lot of kids. And it's been a hard transition for me just because I didn't think I would work with kids. But it's been good. And being able to allow families we do campouts and we do family fish nights. And so just having the family outside, like making those memories and smiling just kind of like puts a smile on my face because like I remember those memories I had with my parents and my siblings. And we had a program just this Saturday called Family Sportsman's Day. And so it was an introduction to shooting sports for kids. They got to come out, do trap skeet and archery, pistol, and they loved it.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fantastic. Okay, so we're kind of at the halfway point. I wanted to play a couple of promos. This might be one of the last weeks we play our 400th episode. That was a big milestone for us. And I can't believe it. We're 15 episodes away from our 500th episode, and we'll create another kind of thank you video for everybody getting us to where. So appreciate everybody that came on the show and has got us here and all the love and support we're getting from the Parks and Rec community. And then also from Huntsville, Alabama, our primary sponsor of the show is Outdoor Link. And so if you've got this smart home that you can kind of turn everything off, control everything from your cell phone and stuff like that, imagine if your entire park system was like that, where you could really control the lights and the splash pads and the door locks all from like a singular device or desktop or something, and basically schedule your whole system to just be on cruise control rather than having to send people out there to turn stuff off and on. And so that's kind of the work they do. And they're based in Huntsville, Alabama. I went and visited their headquarters. It's a really beautiful place up there. So I'll play these 2 quick promos and then we'll come back and finish up our conversation with Emily.
It didn't start with a studio or a big budget or a perfect plan. It started with belief that stories matter, belief that voices deserve to be heard, belief that community is powerful. What began as a single conversation has grown into something far bigger than us. Today we pause, we reflect, and we say thank you. To our guests, thank you for showing up, for being honest, for trusting us with your stories and letting the world hear them. To our partners and sponsors, thank you for standing with us when the vision was still taking shape. Your belief gave this network its foundation. And to our audience, the ones who listened, who watched, who shared, who believed. You didn't just support DPRS Media Network, you built it. This past year changed everything. We grew our shows, we raised our standards, we reached new communities, and we told stories that needed to be told. From parks and recreation to sports, youth, technology, and culture, we learned something important. Growth isn't about numbers, it's about impact. As we grow, our mission becomes clear. Our mission is to create media that matters, media that educates, media that inspires, media that connects people through honest, human storytelling. To spotlight the people, the programs, and the ideas shaping parks, recreation, sports, and the future of our shared spaces. And our vision is bold. We envision a media network that doesn't just document the world, but helps shape it, where local voices spark global change, where communities see themselves reflected, and where media is a force for good. The future ahead is bigger than any single episode. More voices, more stories, more collaboration, live events, original films, deeper conversations, and a growing community united by purpose. From episode 1 to episode 400, thank you for believing when it was hard. Thank you for staying when it was uncertain. And thank you for walking this journey with us. This is DPRS Media Network, built by community, driven by purpose, powered by stories. And we're just getting started.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Update digital displays in real time. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. And even run community or sponsorship campaigns on digital screens. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the daily Parks and Rec show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
All right, we're back with Emily. So I saw you had your little dog out there. What kind of dog is that?
He's an English setter. Come here, Dun. Come say hi. Come here. Come here.
Oh, now he's being shy.
He loves to get in. Whenever I'm talking to anyone on the phone, he's like, why are you giving someone else attention?
Right. Yeah, I have my own little mascot running around here every now and then. She'll come and say hello. She's like a little miniature poodle. She wants to know why I'm not, same thing. Why am I not giving her attention? What's going on? Okay, so maybe let's talk a little bit about why you think it's important to have parks and recreation inside of our military bases, and then how the families and the children and the service members are using it.
I think it's important simply because it can be a misunderstood community. With all of the lingo and everything that's going on, it can be easier for them to make and build a community instead of moving to each place and having it on such a big scale in each of the cities that the bases are around. They'll have everything they kind of need at their fingertips.
Yeah. And so let's just say I'm living on the military base. Let's say I'm the spouse with a couple of kids. What are some of the activities that I can participate in?
So this past week we had an outdoor rec event for the Family Sportsman's Day. Next month we'll have a camp out. We did a turkey 101 course. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear him crying.
Oh, I can hardly hear it. That's fine.
And we also have so many different sport teams for kids. There are different shooting events and programs. Duncan, sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
And on top of that, like there are different. We have bingo halls, and so like you can participate in bingo. There are.
And do they have like the normal sports programming where they can do, have their kids involved in like Little League or something like
absolutely.
that? Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. Okay. And then I wanted to talk about, being a young professional, being a young adult, and especially in the military, what we don't realize is I've often heard an aircraft carrier is like the largest floating high school in the world. It's all people around that 18, 19, 20-year-old age with a few adults kind of supervising the whole thing going on. But for the most part, the military is a tremendous amount of young people that are kind of new to being in the military, and they can be kind of lost and they're away from home and all that kind of stuff. So maybe talk about what it's like just being a young adult in the military.
So now I can only speak for being a military civilian.
Right.
But I think it is pretty much the same all around, that with all of the technology nowadays, like it's a little isolating.
Yeah.
And I think that is the same across the board for everyone. And so it makes it kind of hard. And then with the ability to see what everyone is up to all the time, like the comparison game is such a big thing. And so sometimes it gets hard to just like put your phone down and focus on kind of like what you have. I know one of my favorite things is I just take my dog and I'll drive to random places, and just to find like a little creek that I heard about on a Facebook page or on Reddit. And it's just like, it's finding the little things that make life good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I know, and even for me, sometimes it's so hard to unplug from the phone with all the notifications, and I want to, and I guess you get your brain addicted to this constant stimulation, and not just constant stimulation, but like very short form stimulation. And it for me, it makes it hard to build deep, meaningful relationships and have long conversations, because my brain's just addicted to like little, 10-second and 5-second hits, and you get that dopamine rush. What kind of, have you found any kind of tricks that allow you to kind of put the cell phone down and kind of enjoy nature and stuff like that?
Getting a dog.
Yep.
The dog helps so much.
Really good.
And so I've moved around a lot to a few different places, and it can be a little hard to like make friends when you aren't in school, and when you're just like a young adult in a town of so many other families and kids and young adults. But being able to like find a group can be a little hard. And so when you have to want to like make the change. And so that can be a little hard, but smiling at people on the Riverwalk, just like having a conversation with someone as our dogs like swim in the river, or just stopping to talk like, oh yeah, my dog likes to stop and point at the birds and the ducks, and just like chatting someone up.
Yeah, that helps out a lot. Well, I'd like to play this little video that we made for you and get your feedback on it. But I don't know if you remember, back in COVID, a lot of the park systems just got shut down, and their budgets were cut, and they just let everybody go and send them home. And so, because unfortunately Parks and Rec at the time were not considered essential, similar to how police and fire and hospital healthcare, stuff like that, is considered essential. And it wasn't long after that the whole country realized how important our park systems are to keeping a sane community. So we made this little video highlighting all the values that Parks and Rec brings to their community and how it creates thriving community. So I want to play this video for you and then get your feedback on it and kind of your take from how it's also essential with our military personnel.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present: parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety. A playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, It's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right. So what'd you think of that video?
I really liked it.
Yeah. Any thoughts around why Parks and Rec is essential, especially on the military basis?
Yes, I have so many. I'm just trying to collect them.
Yeah.
So aside from Parks and Rec, sorry, let me start that over. So
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, it's the community that you build when you are sitting at dinner on your phone with someone else on their phone, like that. You're not having interaction. You're not deepening a relationship. And with Parks and Rec, like when your body is active, when you are engaging in something, you're able to let your guard down, let your barriers down, and have a higher likelihood of the vulnerability that breeds vulnerability. And you're able to make deeper connections. And I think that's really important, aside from all of the benefits that the outdoors have.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, if we think about what it means to be human and what it means to have human connection and interaction and stuff, and then you kind of insert this device or this constant stream of stimulation, and it kind of pulls us out of those relationships.
Yeah.
And I think if you stay out of that too long, you almost forget what it's like to be human and to have human interaction. And unfortunately, you see a lot of people when they're out and out on a date, and you'll just see a couple out on a date just glued to their phone the whole date. And I'm like, and so I think it's really important to have Parks and Recreation as part of that place where we can unplug and do sports. And hopefully when those guys were riding the horse, they weren't riding the horse looking at their cell phone the whole time.
No, they weren't.
And that might be difficult to steer the horse when you're just online constantly. Now, what I'd like you to do is, all right, let's help pitch the industry or the career path of Parks and Recreation. Now, imagine that you're sitting in front of a group of like high school kids or college kids that don't really know what they want to do with their life. And they're just not even aware that Parks and Recreation is a career path that you could do professionally. What would be kind of your testimony to them as the impact that you can make in your community, and then also how it's kind of fed you?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is like paid to play. It's such a big thing. Like I get to go on so many different excursions and get paid for it, like because I'm on the job. And I think that's a huge like positive.
Absolutely.
And then also you get to just have relationships and talk with people, and you're not constantly sitting behind a desk, and it's not the same thing over and over and over every day. I don't know, my day is so different every single day, which can be challenging sometimes, but you never know like who you're going to interact with and what the day has in store for you. I know that this past just month, I was able to like form a friendship with a couple that was here from South Korea in a training. And just having these like little interactions of like, oh, your English is getting so good. And, where all have you traveled and what have you visited? And they went to see several national parks in the Western United States. And then ran into them on the river walk, and I saw them the day that they left. Just ran into them on base, and they had given me a little patch of the South Korean flag because they said I had such an impact on them, and like just from our 4 or 5 little interactions, that meant so much to me that I could have a positive interaction with someone.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, and then maybe we can talk more about that, because I think a lot of times in our jobs, we're not really, I mean, we're getting the job done, we're making another widget, we're shipping another product or service,
uh-huh.
but am I really making a difference in people's lives and stuff? And so sometimes we have to wait till, unfortunately, after retirement, when we're old and our life is spent, to figure out, what am I going to give back? What is my life? What is my legacy? What am I leaving behind? And Parks and Recreation, you really get to make a difference and an impact in your community in your 20s, 30s, like in the best years of your life. You're giving back and you get to see those benefits real time.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe speak a little bit about that, as far as what's it like for you to kind of see the work you're doing impacting people in your community?
So I know from personal experience, just the people that have made an impact in my life
Mhm.
through the Parks and Rec space, um, being able to have opportunities for family and for people to, again, make memories and just be happy and smile and laugh. And that's one of my favorite things, is like knowing that they're enjoying themselves and they're enjoying like what we have programmed for them, or
Mm,
what our Parks and Rec team has. They've cut the grass, they've made sure that the facilities are like kept up well. There's a lot that goes into it, and sometimes it can be a thankless job,
mm,
but that's why you have to interact. Like, you have to meet the people in your community and know who you're serving, because it is a very like much a serving job.
yeah,
um, and when you just go into it like, oh, I'm here to make money, like that's not what this is for. This is for serving, um, and to just work with people and
yeah,
to just like share the love and joy.
yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful message. I mean, if you're in Parks and Rec for just a paycheck or just to get the job done, I mean, you're missing the best parts of
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation. Really, it is. I love how you framed it, like you're getting paid to play and have fun and bring joy into people's lives. And so, if that's something that I guess inspires you, then did you know there's an entire industry that does this nationwide in every community in America that you may want to work for? Um, well, I really appreciate you coming on the show
Thank
today,
you so
and
much.
yeah, coming on to the Young Professionals Network show. For those that don't know, we do this. We do the show like every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, and there's just a ton of young professionals coming into this industry, and it really is. And maybe we can close on this, but talk about the what working in Parks and Rec made of you in the process, because a lot of times we start at the bottom of the mountain and
Mhm.
we climb the whole mountain, but then in the process we just become stronger and more resilient. And so, what did Parks and Rec, what has Parks and Rec made of you in the process?
Um, so I started as a lifeguard, you know,
Mm,
15 years ago. And now I don't run like an entire department, but I play a role. And
mm,
sometimes it can be a little difficult because I have so much doubt in myself.
mhm.
And imposter syndrome, that's a thing.
Yeah,
Um, I struggle with that so badly. But just being able to continue to like want to learn and want to grow. There are so many wonderful people that have been working in Parks and Rec for decades, and they want to help you learn and they want to help you grow. And I definitely think it's because of the passion that kind of we all share for people, for nature, for each other. And that's been so wonderful. I think my old boss, I love him to pieces. He is like my grandfather. I'll call him and be like, Dennis, like, what do I do? And it's the ability to like, one of my best friends is, you know, a 65-year-old
I
like
love it.
parks manager. And he has, you know, 3 sons, but I'm able to call him and be like, okay, walk me through this. And one of the toughest things I'm still learning is like, pick your battles.
Yeah.
And when my mom says it, when anyone says it to me, oh, it makes me so angry.
Right.
But it's something I have to learn is like, just let it go.
Yeah.
Because it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, like in terms of, okay, we put on a program, you know, people had fun, they enjoyed themselves. Like the point of the program was not, thankfully, to make money, it was to serve our community.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. And one little trick that I've learned is when I find myself stressing out, I almost can take a step back and look at myself stressing out.
Mhm.
And I kind of disconnect from it so that I don't identify with the part of me that's losing it, whether it's my mind that's constantly trying to figure things out, or if my heart has these emotions that are coming in like massive waves crashing in on me. If I can just take a step back and say, oh yeah, that's my head just running wild with things. It'll be done in a second. And I'm able to just kind of relax and then just let it go, and not have to fight every little thought that comes into my brain, which would drive you crazy. It's just nonstop. I don't know how your brain works, but mine's always thinking of, did you think about this? What about this? You know, I got this, and I'll try to cram, 2 months worth of stress into that moment.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, whoa, let me just put the brakes on and just relax and just try to see what's going on around me right now, and maybe fight the fight that's in front of me, not the 20 fights that's coming on later that month.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like
look at,
not
okay.
worry about other people, but worry about myself.
Yes, yes. And most of the stuff we worry about never happens. So we've got like 95% of the stuff that we're afraid of never even happens.
Mhm.
But we're constantly just running through what could go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show today and
Thank you.
sharing your journey with us. And hopefully we can make some content together. Maybe you can help me with the Young Professionals Network show, because I think this is such an important group, because this really is our future leaders.
Mhm.
These are the ones that are in 10 years are going to be running the Parks and Rec department. So it's important that we get some of the best young people that have a passion.
Mhm.
And, I hope there's not somebody out there that is a perfect fit for Parks and Rec that just never hears about it. And then
Yes.
goes, so if we can just get the word out about what Parks and Rec is and how the current people in Parks and Rec love their job, I think we can do a great service for the community.
Absolutely. And there's
Yeah.
so many different like aspects to Parks and Rec. There's
Oh,
finance,
yeah.
there's IT, it's all there.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's a job in Parks and Rec for every skill set and talent
Mhm.
there is. It's a massive undertaking to manage this huge real estate portfolio that is Parks and Recreation. So
Yeah.
definitely, if you're listening to this and you don't quite know what you want to do and you want to give back to your community and make a difference, consider Parks and Recreation. And you can just go volunteer. Like, there are volunteer
Mhm.
opportunities for every park system in America, and that's how you can kind of get your feet wet and kind of experience it from there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on the show
Of
today, Emily. Have a great
course.
rest of your week.
Thank you. You as well.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So that was another episode of the Young Professionals Network. Emily is just one of those great young professionals that's getting a lot out of her career, and wanted to highlight her. And then we're talking about getting her to maybe help us host this Thursday show along with a couple other people. That way we can really do a good job with highlighting all that goes on with the Young Professionals Network across the country. All right. So that's all we have for y'all today. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Our last show of the week will be the Aquatics Show with, the Aquatics Life, every Friday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, with Wesley King, just one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best aquatic specialists across America. And so that'll be tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll see y'all here then. Thank you guys. Y'all take care. Bye.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.